Just like Peter, Lois has ventured into various different careers, at one point becoming the mayor of the city and at another working the streets of Quahog as an escort. That's why, in today's video, we'll be looking at some of Lois's most random jobs in Family Guy.
Okay, you think you can fit anything else into your mouth? All right, so now let's start filling up some other places.
In episode 17 of season 5, when Lois became outraged by the pollution in Quahog's lake and the corruption in the city, she decided to run for mayor to combat all of that. With the help of her family and friends, and after a fierce competition with Adam West, Lois won the election and fulfilled all her campaign promises. However, the power went to her head, and she started embezzling tax money and owing favors to the oil refineries, forcing her to allow them to pollute the lake again. After realizing she had become what she once criticized, Lois resigned from her position, and Adam West returned as the mayor of the city.
Don't we need to have a whole new election?
In episode 16 of season 5, when Chris is expelled from school for being too dumb, Lois looks for new schools for him, but since he doesn't fit in anywhere, she asks Carter Pewterschmidt for help to send Chris to the school he attended as a child. The problem is that this school was very expensive, and to cover the costs, the whole family had to work, which is why Lois started working as a prostitute along with Meg.
I'll take the one on the right.
Well, once again, Meg, I'll be back in an hour.
In episode 14 of season 11, Peter, after becoming a falconer, commands his falcon to steal a sidecar motorcycle from a very Jewish man, which results in an expensive lawsuit. To help pay for it, Lois decides to get a job. A man, after hearing her voice, suggests she work for a phone sex line. Initially hesitant, Lois agrees due to the high salary. Over time, she starts avoiding Peter in bed because of her new job. Feeling rejected, Peter calls the same phone sex line and becomes interested in an operator named Classy, arranging a date with her. Annoyed, Lois decides to go to the date in disguise. When Peter meets Classy, he declares that he's fallen in love with her, not realizing it's Lois. Moved, Lois ends up giving in, and the two sleep together. Afterwards, Lois reveals her identity and accuses Peter of cheating. Peter, however, defends himself, saying he knew it was Lois all along because only her voice made him feel that way. In the end, Lois accepts his explanation and concludes that it only proved they were meant to be together.
By the way, you may have to become a full-on prostitute because our phone bill was $7,000.
In episode 5 of season 9, Peter signs Lois up for a boxing match against her will. Furious, she quickly wins by knockout. Seeing Lois's talent, Peter enters her into another match, this time against a Ukrainian boxer. To convince her, Peter pretends he's taking her to a fancy restaurant, but instead takes her to the ring. Lois starts getting beaten, but after imagining Peter in place of her opponent, she charges forward and wins again. With 17 consecutive victories and the title of local champion, Lois decides to retire after breaking her nose. At her retirement ceremony, a fearsome boxer who has already killed 3 opponents challenges Lois, but she refuses. The furious boxer humiliates Peter, milking him and forcing him to moo like a cow. Outraged, Lois accepts the challenge. The fight is tough, and Lois takes quite a beating, but she manages to recover. Blocking her opponent's punches, she turns the fight around and wins by knockout, ending her victorious boxing career.
You want a fight? You got one! Now you get your hands off my man before I break him off!